Party time. It is Tuesday, Monday's hangover. Kayla, the most perfect person in the world. Super Chris Cruz. Okay. I love Kayla, and I don't care what you guys say. She is the most perfect person in the world. Super Chris Cruz, and let's love Brandon at the helm, driving us into the nether regions of all things insanity. Friday night, Shawnee, Oklahoma. I'm going to be there. I want you to be there too. WatchChad.com. Are you following me on social media? Boy, I lit the fires on Twitter last week to the point where, like, I just, you just leave it all in the ring, Chris. And I don't even want to go to Twitter right now. I don't want to get on there. I don't want to look at it. I'm uninspired to post things on social media. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the blathering of just the argumentative stupidity that's on there, and it wears me out. It just wears me out. I'm just like, I hate to admit it because I love to stir the pot. I love to get people talking. But and I don't care that people come at me with a differing opinion or they want to argue. It's not that. It's just the stupidity, the sheer stupidity, the justification of the most asinine stuff that people try to do. Just insanity. People trying to defend this economy, Joe Biden's economy, trying to say it's not his fault. I am so tired of Joe Biden saying Putin's inflation. Really? Russia's a third world country. With the exception of their military and their armaments, they're a third world country. And we're worried about Putin's inflation. Joe, I mean, we still throw this graphic up there. Say inflation surged to 8.6%. I don't even know how that math adds up when everything else out there is up, anywhere from 12 to 48% increase. 48.7% to gasoline all the way down to 4% on medical care. I mean, you do the math on that. I don't even see how they get 8.6%, but that's what they're going to say. We're headed to 10. Listen, I said it. Glenn has said it. By the end of this year, maybe before then, we'll hit 10%. Look, I'm wearing one of Chandler Crump's shirts right here. I hate that kid is so prophetic with the, $9 gasoline. It's insane what you guys are justifying. Now that, my retirement under Joe Biden is now a 301k. Not even dude, it's horrible what's happening in this country. Can't afford anything. I'm just waiting on the day. I drive a diesel engine vehicle. I drive a diesel truck. The day is coming. The day is coming where diesel will not be available. Nope. We talked about people who have DEF put diesel exhaust fluid. Every time I say that, people say, delete your truck. I got you. Okay. But trust me, there are people out there who still have to have that DEF to put in their diesel trucks to run them. And now they're saying, Chris, that people are getting sick and they're dying because of climate change. Yep. Climate change is killing people. They're overheating. You've heard of sudden infant death syndrome where children are dying in their sleep in the middle of the night. Now we have sudden adult death syndrome where adults apparently are just dropping dead too. I wonder what that could be from. What could that be from? Maybe from an administration that it consistently and continuously and compulsively was telling everybody to go get an experimental drug placed inside of their body, go get a jab, and then go get a boost. We're not really hearing much about that anymore. I'm just not really hearing much about that anymore. I mean, there's well over 100 soccer players that have dropped dead worldwide in the last year. Just boom. There it is. Because if you got a bad heart, and again, soccer players, they run all over the field, right? They spend their whole life running up and down a field. They have enlarged hearts because it's a muscle and it's just enlarged. And so you start putting that stuff in there, it affects your heart with the myocarditis and all this kind of stuff. It affects them. So, what are we doing? We're killing ourselves. And I want you guys, I say all that to say this, watch what else is going to happen. Because they're going to move towards these midterm elections in November. We're going to have to see a resurgence of something. It's probably going to be coronavirus, but I think it's going to be vaccine-induced coronavirus. So we're going to start seeing the people who got the vaccine, boom, they're going to start getting sick. Because this monkeypox thing, Unless you're going to a pride parade and sucking on a banana, I don't think you getting monkeypox. Like, just by and large, that ain't happening. Unless they, you heard me, unless they just start squirting us with some effervescent aerosolized gay juice or something like that, I don't think you're going to be getting the monkeypox. That's just not taking off the way they thought it was going to. But who knows? Who knows? This nefarious government. I mean, imagine the government is going to incentivize these big pharma companies to create these medications, and then they're going to completely make sure that they can never be sued for anything of a malfeasance or malpractice from the reactions from these things. But then they're going to go out there and force you to get that experimental vaccine, compel you to do it, as it were. And no matter what happens to you, and no matter what the results are going to be, there's nothing you can do about it. Can't even sue the company that made the stuff. But no, you could sue Geico. We talked about this last week. If you get an STD from someone in a car that's insured by them, that happened. $5.2 million the appellate court awarded that girl for getting the human papillomavirus. For, you know, she did the hibbity-dibbity in a car covered by Geico, and she was able to sue Geico. Apparently that guy did damages to her while in a vehicle covered by Geico. It's a crazy clown world we're living in. Justin Bieber, the Biebs. You can't tell me that's not a vaccine injury. You got it? Let me see it.
Hey everyone, Justin here. I wanted to update you guys on what's been going on. Obviously, as you can probably see from my face, I have this syndrome called Ramsay Hunt syndrome, and it is from this virus that attacks the nerve in my ear and my facial nerves, and has caused my face to have paralysis.
There you go. Well, his wife had an issue too. She had a stroke. Listen, ladies, I'm unvaccinated and ready to get acclimated. You know what I'm talking about? Pure blood. Pure blood. That's all I'm going to say. Pure blood. Postponed his tour dates after the left side of his face became paralyzed. I wish him the best. But there's all these weird diagnoses that are coming out with all these people, from strokes, paralysis, heart conditions. People are dropping dead. It's crazy, the stuff that's going on. Unrelated to that, our prayers are with Toby Keith. Find out that he's got stomach cancer. He's been doing like 6 months of chemo treatment there. Toby's a great patriot and loves the country. Hated to get that news over the weekend and hear about Toby. So be careful out there, folks. Be careful. There's some nefarious things that are going on out there. I'm just telling you. And I'll tell you, the most nefarious of them all is this, just kind of the framework of this gun legislation that they passed through the House. You're going to send it on to the Senate. Apparently, Senate Democrats are no longer pushing to raise the age requirements to buy an AR-15 to 21. Any legislative change will require support from at least 10 Senate Republicans to overcome a 60-vote procedural hurdle in the 100-member chamber. Here, let me dig down. It's more than just a raising the age thing. Democrat senator that reportedly thinks there could be some Republican support for raising the age, but that there simply will not be enough to meet the 60-vote threshold to circumvent a legislative filibuster. So also said the federal red flag law would not be included as a potential legislative proposal. Insisted that there will be incentives for states to pass or strengthen their already existing red flag laws. Red flag laws allow police, teachers, and family members to petition a court to remove weapons belonging to gun owners who are deemed a danger to themselves or others. So they're trying to do a little compromise. But listen, there can be no compromise. This thing can't pass. Let me tell you the ramifications of this thing. And if you go on my Facebook, I shared it, and Facebook throttled the shit out of it. You can't see it. I shared the link. It takes about 20 seconds to be able to go and send a message. They've got it pre-filled out. You can send a message to your senator. But I'm encouraging you, send them an email. Do you realize, let's say this thing passes. I jump on an airplane. I go to Georgia, and I'm with a cousin, and we go hunting. That cousin hands me a rifle and says, here, use this. I go off to another deer blind while he sits in this one. Guess what? I just committed a felony by taking his gun to use it. Let's say I'm driving home. I've got my cousin's gun, his rifle, in my truck. I'm driving, and I get pulled over. Guess what? That's a felony now because he loaned me a gun. He committed a felony. I committed a felony. Do you realize that if veterans with PTSD go in and sit down with their therapist, and the therapist says, have you ever had suicidal thoughts? Well, yeah. I mean, I've put a gun in my mouth. I've done all that, had all these kind of crazy. And that therapist reports that. Guess what's going to happen? They're going to want to take their guns. That's all in this legislation. They're going to take their guns. So now guess what's not going to happen? Guess what's going to happen? These veterans who need the therapy are not going to go. They're not going to be honest. They're not going to go talk to their therapist. They're not going to talk about what's really going on under fear that the therapist might report them. Okay? So guess what happens? 22 suicides amongst veterans in America every day is going to become 42 suicides. I'm telling you guys, this is some nefarious stuff that's going on out here. And the people that you don't want to get hurt are the people that are going to get hurt. Because again, who own, the folks that own firearms, I guarantee you, the veteran community, they're not giving up their firearms. They're not the ones that need to be giving up their firearms. Nobody in that regard that's a law-abiding, honest, God-fearing citizen, to use a phrase, needs to be giving up their guns. That's not what this is about. You're going to start penalizing and harming people that don't need to be harmed because of this. And you're going to have lawsuits. You're going to have penalties. You're going to have felonies. You're going to have arrests for law-abiding citizens. Shall not be infringed means shall not be infringed. You need to go back and watch the episode from last week. But talk to your senator. Call them. Email them, share the links. Jump over on my Facebook. Pick one of the Chad Prather pages that's on Facebook. Scroll down on a timeline. You'll probably see a bunch of crap that's important that you've missed. But you'll find that link talking about that. And then it's easy. Just, boom, put in your information, your state, pre-filled out letter, and send it. If you want to, you could delete the text out of that, and you can fill the whole thing in yourself. But just tell them this legislation cannot be passed, folks. This is repugnant. It is traitorous. This is absolute. And when Joe Biden gets up there and says that the Constitution is not absolute, the Bill of Rights is not absolute. Well, when you take like the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment, those kind of amendments that ensure the freedom of slaves as well as their right to vote, and they're now equal citizens, blacks are equal citizens, the right of women. What means, at some point in time, can the government not just go in there and change that too? If it's not absolute, then guess what? You're on the bubble. You're on the bubble too. They can take any right they want. Search and seizure. Do you know they're already doing things with a 100-mile perimeter? From 100 miles from the border of the United States to 100 miles into the perimeter. They're basically forfeiting the Fourth Amendment, so they can come in and do unlawful search and seizures of your home, and it's all in the name of handling this border crisis that we have. So if it's not absolute, folks, if it's not absolute, you don't have anything to rest your freedom and liberties in your rights on. So be careful when they toss around that rhetoric, because everybody keeps talking about, oh, man, if it's not absolute, we've added these amendments. Yeah, you've added freedoms. You've added equalities. You've included more. Now they're talking about taking them away. That's a big difference. Be careful when you use that kind of language. From small family farms to your dining table, I love meat. I've decided I love meat. I think I'm going back into keto. We'll see. I need to lose weight. All the stuff. you want fresh sourced meat and fish and support American family farms at the same time. You can help save the family farm and get access to the highest quality meat on earth when you join the Moink movement today. Moink will deliver grass-fed, grass-finished beef and lamb, pasture pork, and chicken and sustainable wild-caught Alaskan salmon straight to your door. Moink farmers farm like our grandparents did, and as a result, the Moink meat tastes like it should, because the family farm does it better. The Moink difference is a difference you can taste. You can feel good knowing that you're helping family farms stay financially independent as well. You choose the meat delivered in every box. Ribeyes, chicken breasts, pork chops, salmon fillets, and a whole lot more to choose from. Plus, you can cancel anytime. Moink is helping save rural America. I love it. You're going to love it too. Join the Moink movement today. Keep American farming going by signing up at moinkbox.com/Chad right now. We're going to get you the free filet mignon in every order for a year. That's 1 year of the best filet mignon you're ever going to taste. But for a limited time, spell it M-O-I-N-K, moinkbox.com/Chad. Moinkbox.com/Chad. We'll be right back. Boy, I tell you what, I got to sit here and respond to people on social media. I'm sitting here doing it right now. I'm responding to people on social media. People say, you had Kyle Rittenhouse on your show. You say good things about him, but you called him a cold-blooded murderer back when the trial was going on. I'm like, you people are stupid. I never said such a thing. Never said such a thing. Listen, I know y'all get your influencers confused because you spend your time sitting on Facebook while you butt naked on a lawn chair in mama's basement. But stop. Get it all straight. Oh, my goodness gracious. What do we want to talk about? I think it's too late for the Democrats to get this economy straightened out before November. We'll see if that influences voters. I know those of you watching and listening to this show have already made up your mind. You would vote for a brick over a Democrat right now. Right? Am I right? I mean, you cannot tell me that anybody that supports this administration and the philosophies of this administration are okay with you. You just can't. There was play that clip, please, from MSNBC, Mariana Sotomayor, talking about the ABC News panel. That very first element you got in there. Play it.
That's the thing that Biden, you've seen him change his tone a little bit when talking about inflation. Because in the beginning, a lot of Democrats were saying, hey, look, the economy, it's doing great. It's the best in, record number of years. And people weren't feeling that. People were saying, why are you telling me it's good when all these prices are going up? So you are starting to see Democrats shift the messaging a little bit to talk more about and have that empathy. But whether that is a little too late, we're still a couple months away, but it could be a little too late for a lot of these people who are saying, we need help now. Yeah,
it's too late. I don't know if you guys saw my tweet the other day I put out, and it said that on any given day, that's the key phrase, not every day, on any given day, up to 42% of American parents are skipping at least one meal a day so their kids can eat. Now, again, the statistics have been out there. There was a statistic out there during COVID, during 21, that said that 37% on any given day were skipping a meal because of the pandemic and because of not being able to go to work. And now a lot of people, attacked me for saying that. And they said, that's not true. You can't say that. But then you read the comments, and I mean hundreds of comments of people saying, that's my life. That's where I'm living. We're giving up a lot of things. We're giving up food. And then somebody said, oh, well, America's fat anyway. Idiots. Like, that's, again, when I say idiots to start this show, when I said these people will do anything they can to justify this garbage, well, we're overweight. Somebody said Malta-meal is cheap. Okay, you're going to live, you telling me as an American, as a first world free market capitalist, somebody that I'm supposed to live off Malta-meal? Really? One of the worst freaking things you can put in your body anyway? And I'm just supposed to be content to live on Malta-meal? Am I supposed to eat grits for every meal? I'm supposed to eat cream of wheat? There it is. On any given day, 42% of American parents are skipping meals so their kids can eat. Time to admit that you made a mistake. Now, there were other people on there who said, well, are you saying it's a mistake to have kids? I love how people take things out of context. I mean, again, we're talking about this administration. If you voted for the Biden administration, again, you made a mistake. You voted for an inept, dementia-ridden, senile old man who was supposed to bring civility and niceness back to the presidency, right? And we're at a point now, folks, and somebody said, Chris, they said, we watch your show, you're a glass half full kind of person. No, I'm the most optimistic person in the world on a personal level. I'm a realist, though. I am a realist. And when I go to the grocery store, I went on Sunday, go to the grocery store, and again, a thing of bacon is $12. And I'm not talking about they didn't get it off some fancy pig. I mean, it's ridiculous. Look at this. You got keep that meme up there, the shrinkflation. High inflation cost Americans extra $5,500 a year, shrinking the wallet, and a multitude of consumer goods are going through the roof, costing American families $5,520 a year. They're making toilet paper rolls 24% smaller. You've got Gatorade was 32 ounces, now it's 28 ounces. Doritos was 9.75, now it's 9.25 ounces. Wheat Thins went from 16 to 14 ounces. So you had toilet paper, Charmin, 396 sheets, now it's 366. And then people say, well, that's not because of Biden. What's it because of? Is Putin's inflation, Putin's price hike. You can't convince me that Vladimir Putin, the leader of a third world country, and his invasion into the Ukraine, the world's money laundering nation, that where all these global leaders run their nefarious projects through there, and ultimately, again, 10% goes to the big guy. And you know what? I don't give a shit about Vladimir Zelensky. All right? I listen, everybody wants to hold the Ukraine flags up in this whole thing. I'm seeing pictures of people at the beach. I mean, this dude knows how to run a country, apparently. I mean, not only is it war-torn, but it's a vacation hotspot. U2 does a concert there. Jill Biden goes over there. She's not worried about it. People travel, heads of state, senators, Democrats, they're flying in and out of that thing. I see pictures of people at the beach. I'm not saying bad things aren't happening. It's the civilians that I feel bad for. But Vladimir Zelensky, he was a crooked politician. You can't convince me otherwise. They were laundering money through there. You telling me he didn't have anything to do with that? He was public enemy number one when he was on the phone with Donald Trump. Donald Trump goes over there and says, I want to know. I want to know what information you got, what's going on, however that conversation went. They're going to impeach Trump over having a conversation with Zelensky. Now Zelensky's the poster child for what a hero should look like. But they're sitting over there posing for pictures. I don't want to get into all this stuff, but you can't tell me that this stuff going on in America, this inflation, all of this stuff is going on, is because of Zelensky and Putin going at it. Do I agree with it? No. An invasion of a sovereign country shouldn't happen in the way that it happened. It's the civilians that are caught in the middle. But again, I know we've basically forgotten about Ukraine at this point because we've replaced the yellow and the blue of Ukraine with the red, white, blue, green, purple, yellow, whatever, rainbow flag for Pride Month. Y'all gave up invading a country to invading some buttholes. Well, it's true, Chris. The butthole invasion. You got to be careful when you invade a sovereign butthole. Just telling you. With monkeypox The butthole bites back. Oh, there it is. They say the Obama Treasury Secretary, of course, said that recession is coming. Play that clip real quick. You have it?
Secretary Yellen, who has the job you once had, said this week that, quote, there is nothing to suggest a recession is in the works. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't.
You think a recession is in the works?
I think that when inflation is as high as it is right now and unemployment is as low as it is right now, it's almost always been followed within 2 years by inflation, by recession. I look at what's happening in the stock and bond markets. I look at where consumer sentiment is. I think there's certainly a risk of recession in the next year. And I think given where we've gotten to, it's more likely than not that we'll have a recession within the next 2 years.
Oh, it's here, y'all. It's here. I mean, watch the stock market, and it had just done nothing but tank. I mean, every day now for a couple months. It's every day. Just boom, it's gone. Investor confidence is terrible. Let me tell you what they've done, dude. They I mean, we've got this gasoline situation going on. We've got baby formula that's missing. We've got sriracha. It can't even get hot sauce. We'll talk about that in the next segment. I mean, what's next? And by the way, when I was in the grocery store the other day at Tom Thumb, Fort Worth, Texas, West 7th, richest cowboy in Texas, Chad Prather. I was in there, and you know those aisles, they got stuff everywhere. And I went to the baby formula aisle just to look. Not there. Not there. Nope. No, the section's there. It's empty shelves. Empty shelves, because they have those little locked cases because people steal that stuff. So they had some toddler formula, like some specialty mixes for toddlers with certain conditions and stuff like that. But that just a few cans. That's right. That's right. One of the most affluent areas of Fort Worth, Texas, right there, Tom Thumb. Poof. Nothing. Politically charged times, folks. We're living in them. Conservatives, you better learn to vote with your dollars. That's what I'm telling you. That is what I'm telling you. My friends over at Minutemen Coffee, they're the coffee for American patriots. They're the coffee for you. Constitutionally based, family-owned company, steadfast in their belief that all freedom-loving Americans deserve products from companies that share their beliefs without fear of cancellation or retaliation from the woke mob. Minutemen Coffee believes in your constitutional rights. They're going to put their money where their mouth is and send you a copy of the Constitution in every order so you can keep that conversation going. Put it right there on your coffee table. Let everybody see it. Educate the next generation of constitutional patriots. It's amazing coffee, small batch, handcrafted from family farms across the globe, roasted to perfection, delivered fresh to you. There's a lot of coffee out there. This is good stuff. Minutemen Coffee hits the mark when it comes to taste and aroma. You're going to love it as much as I do. With Minutemen, you're going to get a full pound of coffee for less than most companies charge for just a cup of coffee. Minutemen Coffee has a special going. If you buy 3 bags of the Heritage Roast and add Trader Joe to your cart, it's free. Then they'll give you free shipping. You want a different deal than that, then you can use CHAD. I spell it Chad at checkout for 15% off your order. Join the coffee revolution. Wake up without going woke. MinutemenCoffee.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. It is that time in the show once again where I wax eloquent and, impress you. I know, so impressive. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, why are we not referring to the economic crisis we currently face in this country as Inflategate? That's what we used to do in this country with all the really good scandals, so how that tradition just dry up? I don't know if you're aware of this, but Joe Biden has certain financial outlets he's particularly fond of quoting, and unfortunately for him, one of them just did him real dirty by telling things the way they are. So let's put on our deep boots, grab a handful of Kleenex, and walk through a few numbers, shall we? According to the Bureau Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Consumer Price Index hit 8.6% year over year, which is the highest rate in 40 years. And someone from one of Joe Biden's favorite groups to quote, Moody's Analytics, had some not too pleasant things to say about it. Let me read you a quote from Ryan Sweet. He says, having inflation at 8.5% on a year-ago basis compared with the 2.1% average growth in 2018-2019 is costing the average household $346.67 per month to purchase the same basket of goods and services as they did last year. However, the pure cost for households for having inflation running at 8.5% is $460.42 per month. This estimate is based solely on the realized inflation rate and doesn't adjust for what inflation would have been absent the pandemic, because that is highly uncertain, end quote. Now, maybe you didn't have a napkin just now upon which to do the math, so let me reduce this little fraction to the lowest common denominator. Biden's economy sucks, and it's getting worse. Prices are rising for just about everything: fuel, oil, natural gas, meats, poultry, fish, eggs, fruits, vegetables, milk, coffee, air travel, the purchase of used cars and trucks, you name it. It has probably skyrocketed in the past few months. ABC News and Ipsos recently did a fun little poll which showed that only 28% of American voters approve of how Biden is dealing with inflation. First of all, I find it discouraging that 28% of Americans might be dumb enough to think that. But it gets even better. Of the people surveyed, 80% of them said that inflation is going to be an extremely important factor when they're considering how they'll vote in the midterm elections. 74% said the same thing about gas prices. Folks, the pooch hath been screwed. And when November rolls around, Democrats are going to have nobody but themselves to blame as they tuck into their beds and wet themselves down with tears. Now, I don't mean to get arrogant on this point. Believe me, I don't. If any group of people in the world can snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, it is Republicans. And they still have several months left in which to screw this up as well. So let's not rest on our laurels. But the truth of the matter is you'd have to be absolutely batshit crazy at this point to think that more of the same from the moron in chief and the morons who follow him is going to be a good thing. In fact, it's worse than that, maybe. You just about have to want this economy to completely collapse to continue supporting what's going on. People all over this country are feeling the hurt from Biden's policies. And who knows? Maybe this has been the wake-up call we all needed. Maybe this is an opportunity for us to teach ourselves and the children to whom we leave this mess how not to do things. And if it works, maybe it will have been worth it. I still can't get over people saying, oh, it's okay, you just have to eat different. Or what I like is y'all are all fat. You need to be eating healthier anyway. I don't know if you've perused the prices at Whole Foods anytime since its inception. That's eating healthy is the most expensive way to eat. We're fat because the shit food is cheap. That's a fact. You go in there, let me tell you something. You go in the grocery store, you go to the produce section, and you start buying fruits and vegetables. And you let me know. You let me know. You go in there and shop the perimeter of the grocery store. Don't get in the aisles. The aisles is where all the unhealthy stuff is. You shop the perimeter. And you compare baskets with the average person coming out of there, and you see how much you're spending. So don't just say, oh, Americans need to tighten up. What kind of Venezuela bullshit mentality is that? Like I'm just supposed to give it up because Joe Biden, like what are we going? Why are we going to keep propping this administration up? And Joe said the buck stops here, so let's lay the buck right on him, okay? Why are we going to keep propping this guy up and saying, oh well, it's what we got, nothing we could do about it? No, there's a lot of things we could do about it. There's a lot we could be doing about it, but you guys don't know your constitutional rights. You don't know the stuff that we could be doing. But no, we just keep propping up these stupid-ass politicians. Greg Abbott. I'm sick of the Republicans, too. Put them all in a box, shake it up, and throw it out. Greg Abbott just talking about how Texas is the greatest place because all these big Fortune 500 companies are moving here. And we're now a sinkhole state, dude. You've subsidized all these big companies that come in here. We keep propping up these politicians like they're doing a good thing. They're not. Joe Biden's a failure. You gave a senile, dementia-ridden Alzheimer's patient a chance to run the free world, and guess what? He screwed it up. He screwed it up. What do you think's supposed to happen when you give Grandpa the keys to the Cadillac? He's going to hit shit. He's going to hit poles. I mean, you ever seen it? Like, God bless my dad, my late father. He because of diabetes, he was basically blind, but he was stubborn, so he's going to keep driving, right? His car had more yellow paint. His truck had yellow paint all down the sides where he'd hit those poles, you know, those little safety hazard poles in the parking lots. I mean, his truck was beat to hell. And we were like, you can't keep driving. You can't see. And he'd get mad. And you know what you want to do is you want to just give in and say, oh, just let him keep going. Well, you're going to kill somebody. I don't care how stubborn he is. You're going to kill somebody. We just gave the keys to Joe Biden and said, run with it, Bubba. And then say, well, there's nothing we can do about it. Just keep propping him up. People say, oh, well, at least we don't have Donald Trump. Shut up. You're an imbecile. You are the lowest form of life. You really are. You're an imbecile. Babies can't eat. But we don't have mean tweets. Idiots. Birch gold. I'll tell you, I give you the silver lining. You got this inflation hammering the stock market. S&P 500 is having the worst start to the year since World War II. Your savings are worth less. You have less of it. It's a good time for you to diversify into gold, folks. Most stable asset in the history of the world. Birch Gold, they're who I trust. They'll convert your IRA or your 401k into an IRA of gold and silver. That's right. Not only will Birch Gold help you fortify your savings with precious metals, they'll help you do it in a tax-sheltered account. Text CHAD, I spell it Chad, to 989898. Get started. Amazon stock down 37% in the first half of the year. Tesla down 40%. Cryptos have been slammed. Many fear the hawkish moves by the Fed could stall the economy. What's your plan? Well, I want to help you. Text Chad to 989898. Get your free, no-obligation info kit on gold from Birch Gold. They're precious metal professionals, folks. Text Chad to 989898. Secure your savings now. Be right back. You know, this shrinkflation thing where all this stuff, like, again, 10-pound bags of ice are now 7 pounds. Everything has gotten smaller. Now, we kind of went through this tightening of the belt back in the 70s as well. I cast my mind back to the memory of a president named Jimmy Carter. Another failed leader. When they shrunk everything, they didn't take it back up. Once that was done, they got through all of that. They didn't suddenly just go, boop, pop it right back up again. So this is what's going to happen. They're going to give you less and charge you more. All right? And if they are charging you the same, they're going to shrink it down, and it's never going to come back to what it was. But that's okay, folks. It's okay. Representative Jamal Bowman, there's a whole big thing on if the GOP wins in November. He had this to say on MSNBC. Play that clip.
So the January 6th commission would cease to exist. The findings will be completely suppressed and will not be admitted into any further investigations while the GOP will be in power. They would impeach President Biden as quickly as possible, and they will continue to find ways to impeach him going forward. It would also embolden Republicans and the far right and white nationalists across the country to begin to believe that it is their time to not just take power in the House, but the Senate, the White House, and state houses across the country. And we got to understand that this is a group that has been radicalized by the Great Replacement myth and many other things, and have been pushing for violence and pushing for even civil war.
Civil war. Those pesky white nationalists, always got to throw them in there. You got to remember that they're the ones that you really got to watch out for. Those crazy-ass, wild-eyed white nationalists. You know, again, you got that January 6th hearing. Woo. You know, whenever Trump debated Hillary, there were 82 million viewers. Whenever he debated Biden, there were 72 million viewers. But for the January 6th thing the other night, in prime time, only 20 million people watched because they don't care. Because they don't care. No matter how much you try to sensationalize all of this stuff, these people were still just walking through the Capitol, staying within the velvet ropes. Should it have happened the way it happened? No. Can you convince me that there weren't some nefarious plots going on there? You can't convince me of that. Nope. I think there were some nefarious things happening there. But forget the fact that an armed person wanted to go kill Brett Kavanaugh, and the New York Times is just going to bury that story. If they'd have been doing that, I mean, can you imagine if they'd have gone after a liberal justice? If that's all they would be talking about. Those pesky white nationalists out there trying to start a civil war by killing a Supreme Court justice. That's all they would be talking about. You remember when that Bernie supporter shot up the baseball field there full of GOP members practicing for the baseball game? Remember that? Nobody wants to talk about stuff like that anymore. There was no big cry for gun control then. None of that. Again, so it goes both ways, Jamal. It goes both ways, Jamal. I bet you have a TikTok to piss me off. I bet I want to watch it. Here we go.
I've been wanting to do this for the past 2 years. Sorry, I'm like so emotional. And I just haven't had the courage to do it out of fear of judgment, mostly from their parents. But I had these kids in 4th grade and now I have them in 6th, and I'm sending them to middle school, and I love these kids so much, and I trust them, and they make me feel safe, and I know they love me, and it just felt right, and I did it, and it was so beautiful. They had so many questions, which I loved. They wanted to learn, and they wanted to learn about me, and they were so eager, and a few of them clapped, which was so precious.
What, did she come out or something? Yeah. Is that her whole deal? Yeah. You had to. She's a teacher. Yeah. She had to come out to her students, make it all about her. But can they read? Can they add? Can they do? Do they know what 7 times 7 is? Do they know their multiplication tables? Can they divide? Can they write in cursive? Do they have any concept of anything educational, or is it just about you? Is it just about you and who you're sleeping with and who you choose to have sex with in your lifestyle? I mean, no. Does anyone care that you scissor? Who cares what you do, lady? What the hell is wrong with you people? I mean, you know what I want to do? I'm going to teach a group of 6th graders, and I want to talk about my weekends. I mean, why not? I have some pretty exciting weekends. I do some crazy stuff. I spent $425 the other night at the Velvet Box in Fort Worth. Let's talk about that. Yeah, I've been wanting to talk about it for 2 years to you kids. Idiots. Be right back. Well, I mean, not the least of the shortages is the tampon shortage. I reported on that over the weekend. There's a tampon shortage. I guess the puppet masters are pulling the wrong strings. You stop putting tampons in boys' bathrooms and you'll have plenty. How about that? WatchChad.com is where all the fun stuff is. Oh, don't forget, go visit ChadPrather.com and catch up on some of that news you can use, then lose. Shawnee, Oklahoma, Friday night, and then we're bouncing all over the place. We're adding shows across the country. Check us out as we add them. BlazeTV.com/Chad. Use promo code Chad to save, and we will see you for Hump Day tomorrow. Love you. God bless you. Bye.